Hello and welcome to the fourth part of the shopping cart tutorial. In the previous part, we created the products page, and on clicking on one of the item of our subcategory, we are able to display the products of that particular subcategory. And also we added an event. So when we click on one of the line item, we were able to capture that event. And now let's go ahead and implement that event. So instead of writing alert, we are going to call our controller, and we are going to trigger the method which is going to be product press, and we are going to pass that event, and we are going to create this method inside our products controller. So this is going to accept the event, and now we are going to get the binding context of this particular element, and from the binding context we'll be getting the path which will give us the index of this element. So let's get the binding context first, is equal to o event dot get source dot get binding context of our products, and from here we are going to get the path. So o binding context dot s path, and let's print this and see if we are getting the path or not. So refresh this page, get into the console, and when we click on one of the items, we are getting the path. So now we are interested in the product index, which is this. And if I click on this particular element, which is having index 1, we get the index 1 over here. And we are going to pass this particular thing onto our URL. So to do that, we are first going to get this index. So we can get that by typing var start is equal to spath dot last index of our slash, and we're going to exclude that slash, and now we can get the product index, and this is going to be spath dot substring. We're going to pass the start position and the end position, right? And now let's try to print the product index, and let's see if we get that or not. So when we click on one of the item, we are getting the product index, right? So we're going to pass this to our URL, and we already have the router object, so we can copy that dot nav2, and it's going to navigate to another rule, another routing rule whose name would be product info. We are going to create this rule in a while, and we are going to pass 3 arguments. So the first argument is cat index, and this is going to be this dot cat index. We are getting this value from here, and next we are going to pass our subcat index, and it is going to have the value this dot subcat index, and finally we are going to pass the product index, which is going to be product index, which we just got over here. And now let's get into our component.js and copy this rule and paste it over here. We are writing this inside a subroutes because we are still inside that master page, and we are just going to change the details pages. So inside this, we want our URL to match this particular pattern, product index, and our pattern name is product info. So we can write product info over here, and we're going to create a view whose name would be product info, right? And we are going to just close it at the moment, and our view name is product info. And now if we refresh this page and click on one of the item, we get inside the product info page, and from the product info page we are going to get all these parameters, which is the cat index, subcat index, and the product index, and we are going to create the context and bind it with this view. So we can close all of this and get inside our product info controller. So we can copy this part from our products controller. So we can copy this and paste it over here. And now inside our onInit method, we are getting the instance of the router, and we are checking if the pattern matches the. So first we're getting the instance of the router, and then we are checking if uh, this event matches our routing name. In this case, it is going to be product info. And if it matches, we're going to execute further. If not, we're going to return it back. And here we are having the subcat index and the cat index. We are also getting the product index. So all these things are there in the URL. So we get all those items from the URL. And over here, we are going to add plus product, and we are going to add this dot product index. And if you look into this string, let me explain this. So this is our JSON data, and we are inside the collection. And let's say we clicked on the 0th index, which is men. So this is going to be 0. And in that case, we are getting inside this particular item. And after that, we are getting inside items subcat. So we get inside items subcat, and our item subcat contains 2 elements. So if we click this, we have 2 elements. Let's assume we clicked on the 0th element of this. So this is going to be 0, and that's the reason we will get inside our 0th element. And from here, we'll get inside our product. So inside our product, we are, let's say, we clicked on this element, which is the 0th index. And when we click on this, we get inside our that particular product. So in this case, we get inside this product, and now we can get all the information of that particular product. So we get the context and we bind it with our view, which is the product info view. And now we can go ahead and create this view. And to do that, we are going to use 2 new controls, and it is going to be a object header, and we will also use object status, and we'll also use a horizontal box. So I'm going to show you how all these things work. So inside our content, we're going to add new sap.m.object header, and this is going to accept some parameters inside the object. And here we can write the title, and we're going to bind the title with products, and we're going to bind it with our name. And so we are binding that with the name. And next we are going to give the price. So the object header also accepts a key, which is number, and we are going to bind this with products price. And this element also accepts a number unit. So in this case, we are going to hard code a currency, let's say INR, and then we are going to give some statuses. And what statuses does, it is going to mark the text in green or red or orange. So there are 3 status available. One is success, one is error, and the other one is warning. So let's create new sap.m.object status, and this is going to accept an object. Our text is going to be item available. So we are just hard coding these values over here, and we are going to give a state of this. So item available, we want it to be in green, so the value state would be success. And sap.ui.core.value state dot success, and you can actually print this inside the console, and you can see what all options do you have. So when we print this, we are getting error, warning, and success. So we are using success. S is going to be capital, and let's copy this and paste it over here. And here we're going to give 1-day delivery available. So we want this to be in red, so we give error. And this is not exactly an error, but we are just trying to print that in red. So we are done with the object statuses, and now we are going to place an image. We want the image to be exactly in the center of the screen, so we'll be using a horizontal box, and we'll align that, align the content of the horizontal box in center. So we can write new sap.m.hbox, and this is going to accept items. In our case, it is going to be new sap.m.image, and we are going to pass the src. In this case, we are going to bind it with products and image, and we are going to give a height, and we'll give the height as 200 px. And now we are going to align this align align items, and we're going to write sap.m.flex align items, and we're going to align its center. Sometimes this might work, might not work for different kind of text and content, so we are also going to write justify content, and this is going to be sap.m.flex justify content dot center. So that's our hbox, and next we're going to give the description. So we can write new sap.m.text, and we're going to write the text over here. So we're going to bind it with our description, and that's it. So let's go ahead and refresh this page, and we get our product information over here. Now if you look, this text is actually touching this uh, master page as well, so we are going to add a style class so that we can write CSS for that. So we are going to add style class, and we are going to give this as padding 40. We're going to add some padding, and 40 means we're going to add 40 px of padding, and add style class, and we are going to justify the content, and we're going to add another style class, and we're going to say margin top 20. So we're going to give some margin in the top, so that's why we added. We are going to write the CSS later on, but to see how this classes get added, you can refresh the page, right click on this particular content, and do inspect element, and you will notice that the classes are over here. So we have justify, margin top, and we have a padding of 40, so that's what we have added. And now we are going to place a back button so that we can go back to our product list page. So to do that, we can get into our product info view, and just after the title you can write show nav button. This is true, and when we click on this nav button, it should execute this function, and we are just going to write window dot history.go, and this is -1, so it will go back to the history which was just before. And we can actually bind this title with the name of our product. So we are going to get the product name here as well. And if we refresh this page, we get a back button, and when we click, we come back over here. So let's try to get inside this product. We have the back button. When we click, we come back. So that covers the product info page, and now we are going to implement the cart, and we are going to implement the add to cart as well. So let's create a cart page first. So new, other is going to be a view. We are going to name this as cart, and we are going to come back to this later on. And now when we click on one of the item, we need to add a footer so that we can add this item to cart from here as well. So to do that, we can get inside our product info page, and just before the content, we can write a footer, and our footer is going to be new sap.m.bar, and this footer will contain content left. We are going to place a button over here, and if I just delete everything from here, it is going to place a bar over here, something like this. And on the left hand side, we are going to add add to cart. So we can write content left, and this is going to be an array. And here we are going to add a button, so we can write new sap.m.button, and this is going to accept a text. We'll name it as add to cart, and we are going to give an icon to this. So it is going to be SAP icon, and we are going to place an add icon, so it will look like a plus icon. And when we press, we want to trigger a function, and we can have the add to cart from two different places. So if we refresh this, we can add this item to the cart from here, and if we go back, we can also add it from here. So we are going to write the implementation of this add to cart in a common page, which is going to be inside our common.js. So we are going to call this controller, and we are going to write common dot add to cart, and we're going to pass the event and also the instance. So we are going to implement this later on, and now we are going to implement this cart button. So when we click on this, we should be able to get our cart. So to do that, our cart button is inside our subcategory controller and subcategory view. So we open both of them, and this is where we are going to implement the cart button. So we are going to write the function inside our common.js, because our cart button can be inside our category view and also inside our subcategory view. So we are going to create a common implementation for both of them. We are going to trigger the method cart press, and we are going to pass the event, and we are going to pass the controller as well, because with the help of this controller, we are going to get the instance of the router. So now we can close this view, and we are going to get inside our common.js, and we're going to write a function which will accept the event and also our controller instance. And over here, we are going to write for router is equal to sap.ui.core.ui component.get router for this. Sorry, it should be our controller, which is the object. And now we can write router.nav to our cart pattern. So if you notice, when we click on this, we'll get our cart page, and at that moment, the radio button shouldn't be active because it has no resemblance with our cart. So we are going to set it as inactive, or we are going to deselect the radio button. So to do that, we are going to get the object of this list, and then we are going to find out which one is the selected item, and we are going to mark it false so that it becomes unselected. So to do that, first we are going to get the list. List is equal to sap.ui.getCore by id slist id. that's the id that's the id of our list. So let's verify that. So slist id, and after that we are going to get the selected item. So var selected is equal to list dot get selected item, and if the selected item is not null, so we are checking if the item is actually selected, and if it is selected, then we are going to write list dot set selected item. We are going to pass the selected item and we are going to mark it as false. And now we are going to create a pattern. So we will be doing that inside our component.js, and we can copy this. So our pattern name would be cart, and we'll pass a cart in the URL, and our view is also cart. And now if we go ahead and refresh this page and click on our cart, it gets us the cart page. But you notice that the subcategory was there, it got vanished. Well, that's because if you get inside our subcategory controller, we had commented this part. So it is getting the pattern name as cart, and when it is executing all these steps, it is actually not getting our cat index, and it is not able to get the context. So we are going to uncomment this, and we are going to match the pattern. So if the pattern name is not equal to category, and the pattern name is not equal to products, and also if it is not equal to our product info, then we are going to return it. So what this means, if we are getting the cart name over here, we are going to return it. But if we are getting any of these patterns, we are going to execute it further because our URL will have the cat index. And that's the way we can bind our context and get the subcategories over here. And now if you go ahead and, so let's try this one more time. So let's get into one of our subcategory, and when we click on our cart, this gets unselected, but we still get the cart view. And we are going to place a back button over here so that we can get back to our products. And to do that, we need to get inside our cart view, and over here we are going to write show nav button, and we are going to make it true. So when we refresh this page, we are getting the nav button, and when we click on this nav button, we are going to write a function, and which will get us in the previous page. So window.history.go, and we'll write -1, right? And now if we get back, refresh this page, and click on our cart, and click on this, we get back to our product page. So that's all for this part, and in the next part we are going to implement the add to cart button, and also we are going to see how to get the items inside our cart. So stay tuned, keep watching. Thank you.